All right, I'd like to invite the children to come down to our usual spots for our time together. Come on. I want to act out a Bible story for you real quick, and you're smart, and I bet you're going to get it real fast. So watch carefully, put on your good watching eyes. Here we go. What do you think it is? What's that? Zacchaeus, that's right. Very good. Give your brains a kiss for that one. Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about barriers, we talked about Zacchaeus and we talked about climbing, and we left him up in that tree. He's been up there for 2 weeks, and we got to get him down. All right. So let's practice like we're climbing. We're climbing up the tree because Zacchaeus was a wee little man. That's right. And he's up there. And, I got a little confused with where to go with this children's moment today because Zacchaeus is one of my favorite stories. And there's a lot of different directions to go. And one of the neat things is when Zacchaeus gets up there, he gets to see Jesus coming into town. And not only that, but guess what else? Jesus sees him too. Go, dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And I thought maybe about using that as a children's moment, but I thought, no, that's not going to work. And then Jesus looks up at Zacchaeus and says, Zacchaeus, say that with me. Get down from that tree. I'm coming to your house for snacks. Yeah. And Zacchaeus learned what a lot of how many of you are tree climbers? If you're a tree climber, raise your hand. Of course we are. Of course we are. If I asked a room full of grown-ups, not as many hands would go up. They should. But Zacchaeus learned what a lot of us already know, that it's a lot harder to climb down a tree than it is to climb up a tree, especially when someone like Jesus is waiting because he wants to have a conversation. So all the people were real upset because Zacchaeus was not a particularly nice person. He used power to take things from other people unfairly. And so the crowd grumbled. Everybody go mumble, 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 mumble. Rumble, grumble, grumble. Everybody go watermelon, 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 watermelon. Watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. Yeah, sometimes when we're singing the hymns and we're not familiar with the words, we sing watermelon, 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 watermelon. Okay, so they got over to Zacchaeus' house. And I think, to me, that the most important part of that is there was an invitation. Say, invitation. But here's the deal. Say, what's the deal, Mr. Mark? Tell us, tell us, tell us. Zacchaeus didn't invite Jesus over. Jesus invited himself over. Today we think, well, I don't know if that's exactly polite. I mean, I could probably invite, hey, Casey, I'm going to come over to your house later, and you're going to make me some food, and we're going to have a conversation. See, look at that. She is not thrilled with that maneuver. But what I love about that is Jesus is a part of our lives whether we invite Jesus over or not. Jesus is coming. Okay? Whether or not we want Jesus to be a part of our lives, Jesus is going to be a part of our lives, even if Jesus has to invite himself over. And that kind of frees us up. Everybody go, ah. And it frees us up so that we can invite other people. When Jesus comes over to Zacchaeus' house, his heart's changed. Everybody rub your heart. Zacchaeus' heart is changed. And instead of using his power to take things from other people, he uses his power to give things to other people, including the very, very poor. He sells all his stuff and he gives 3-4 times what he took from other people. And that teaches me something very important. Say, what is it, Mr. Mark? Thank you for asking. What it teaches me is that we need to reach out. Because Jesus is already there, whether we invite Jesus or not, we need to take that ability to invite, and we need to reach out and invite other people. And we could be a welcoming church. We could say, you know, you're First Methodist, you're welcome to come to First Methodist. That doesn't take a lot of work. Everybody say welcome. Say welcome. Turn to your neighbor, say welcome. Would you like to come in? You're welcome to look around. It doesn't take much work. All it takes is kind of smiling at the door and not staring somebody down. But when we invite, we have to reach out. Everybody reach out and practice. Say, I invite you. I want you to come. I want you to be a part of my life. And you know there's a risk involved with that. Everybody go, dun, dun, dun. And the risk is that they might say no. Now in a second, you are all going to get a card with an envelope, postage already paid. Everybody go, ooh. Everybody go, ah. And what I want you to do with that card is I want you to invite somebody. You can invite someone to church. You can invite them to your Sunday school class. You can invite them over for a play date. Because what I want you to do is practice inviting. So think, and if they say no, they say no. But guess what? Say what, Mr. Mark? I would never ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So I'm going to take that risk and invite, even though the answer may be no. I'm going to do that right now. I've got a note. And it's for the congregation. All right. Dear friends of FUMC who come to the 11 o'clock service in the sanctuary, I try to make it as specific as possible. It's just, you know. Anyway, I would like to invite you to our Children First service next Sunday at 9:45 here in the sanctuary. If you already have other plans, I understand. But I care about Children First very much. And I care about you very much. And I just couldn't pass up a chance to bring the things I care about together. So if you can make it, I'm going to leave the invitation right here on the altar. So you can come by and read it, and you can battle over who gets to put it on the fridge later, okay? All right. Let's all take in a deep breath. Let's have a closing prayer, and then I do need to say one more thing to the grown-ups in the room. All right. Repeat after me. Dear God, help me know that you're part of my life. Help me know that Jesus is part of my life. Help me reach out and invite others so they can know that you're part of their life and I'm part of their life. Amen. Okay, now freeze. And congregation, one more thing. I know this all looks so smooth like a big Broadway production. But right outside in the hallway, it can get a little bit chaotic because all of these kids that come from all over the place go to about 6 different places within the children's wing. We have kids that go to Bible Black Belts. If you go to Bible Black Belts, raise your hand. Okay? If you're someone that right after this you go to choir, raise your hand. If you go to the mission room, raise your hand. If you go with the 3s, raise your hand. If you go with the 4s, raise your hand. You see, some of them haven't raised their hand yet. And some of them raised their hand like 3 times. Okay? So what we would love for just maybe the next couple of weeks, if you're a parent of a kid who goes with the 3s or the 4s at the first floor, if you wouldn't mind just kind of sneaking out with us and making sure that your child gets to the right room because your child, we are honored that you trust us enough to get them there. We want to make sure that we earn that trust by being safe. So if you are able to do that and then come right back to the service, that would help us, help you, help us. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right. Thank you very much, grown-ups. All right, kids, here we go.